So remember when the Bengals were very adamant that they're not trading away T. Higgins, and they weren't going to? Well, there's a reason why. T. Higgins changed his agent to Jamar Chase's agent this year. And with that change, looks like we got a little bit of a stalemate situation that might have happened. So T. Higgins' situation was tied 100% to Jamar Chase's. So according to the agent of T and Jamar, no Jamar Chase's deal could be done without T also being signed. So they legitimately said we are a package deal. Like, they straight up stepbrothers were interviewing together type of deal. Which the whole idea was, okay, well, the Bengals are going to re-sign Jamar, right? And then they potentially will trade away T. In the end, they really didn't have a choice. They had to either sign both or trade away both. That was the only option. It was either sign both of them at one time or trade away both of them and get rid of both of them, which obviously would have been a cluster fluff. And I think rightfully so, every single Bengals fan would have been highly upset. So, well, yes, Jamar, obviously Joe Burrow put out, what he said. He wanted all four. He wanted Trey, he wanted Chase, he wanted T, and he wanted Mike Gesicki. I guess in a way, the Bengals, they are very much in history, stuck in their ways when it comes to refusing to pay that much money. But they know they had to have Chase. Like, no matter what, Chase had to stay and be on a long-term contract. So they kind of got their hand forced in a way. And I think this is less of like, oh, well, the Bengals finally did what Joe Burrow wanted, which was keep his two receivers. Because, again, he still wants Trey. And this was more like the receivers fought back. The receivers fought back and said, no, you're not going to just get one of us. You're either going to get one or you're going to get both of us. Which kind of does also make sense because, like, if you're a number one wide receiver on the team, and let's say, hypothetically speaking, we did lose T, right? Obviously, we didn't, but let's say we did. Jamar would be the number one receiver on this team. Outside of Jamar, it would go Yoshi and then Jermaine Burton. And Jamar would get, if you remember the Bills game, I think it was last year. Yeah, last year during the Bills game, Jamar got like triple covered the whole entire game. And he had like 0 receptions. But T had 114 yards because everyone focused on Jamar. Well, let's say, hypothetically speaking, run that back and you don't have T. Well, you're still going to see Jamar get no receptions. For a receiver, it's always nice to have another number one or high-end wide receiver 2 on your team because the defense has to respect that said player and they have to put resources covering that said player. So they can't just all out cover you, double team you every play if there's multiple really good receivers on the same team. Now, obviously, Yoshi is still really good, don't get me wrong. Very much up and coming superstar legend. But at the end of the day, right now, at the point we're at, if you see our offense last year, especially, we run 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Yoshi doesn't even see the field in that context, right? So if T wasn't there, it would have been Yoshi and Chase, and that's it. Well, I don't know if Yoshi would have been able to get open as much. Obviously, not as much as T. T is way better than Yoshi. He also is older than Yoshi, has more years experience. Again, I'm not saying Yoshi's going to eventually become T, but I think he's going to become very close to T. I'm very high on Yoshi. I have been since day one, and absolutely love Yoshi. So, beside the point, it's an interesting situation, but it also does make sense. Again, from an agent point of view, you're kind of wheeling and dealing, but you're also calling the Bengals bluff. Because the Bengals, again, are not a team that has been known to spend a lot of money. Not a team that goes out there and spends an arm and a leg for, players. Obviously, Carson Palmer's situation is most recent memory of them just absolutely doing the opposite what the quarterback wants. But again, like I said, I don't know how much of this is really what the quarterback wanted, quote unquote, and more of like, hey, we got to keep Chase. Okay, I guess we'll keep T2 because we can't lose both. You either keep both or you lose both. I can't imagine how that situation would have ended. Rightfully so, we would have absolutely been very, very upset. Although I will say, I wonder what the trade compensation would have been for that. Now that I know it would obviously never happen and we just signed both of them, I do wonder, I guess for Chase, and then we talked about this on live stream before, for Jamar Chase, I think if we traded him, we would want 3 first-round picks, at least 3 first-round picks. Probably way more than 3 first-round picks, in all honesty. So probably like 3 firsts, 3 seconds, and maybe a player. For T, if we traded him away, the Bengals wanted a first plus more. But I think if we did trade away T, a realistic compensation for him, I'm trying to be realistic here, I would say probably be like maybe a early second, late first. I honestly, it would honestly be a first or early second round pick, in my opinion. So that would mean we would get, in the end, potentially for those two, 4 first round picks, 3 second round picks, and maybe a player. Which again, at the end of the day, that goes through the whole saga of what's better, to have the player and have to pay him, or the picks. And at the end of the day, you don't know what the picks will be. I could say, hey, you're going to get 4 first round picks and 3 second round picks, and all 7 of those picks might be complete bust, right? They might be 7 bad picks in the end. I know, personally speaking, if you look at the numbers and statistically, they should at least have a couple good players in there. But are they ever going to be Jamar Chase? No, most likely not. And it also depends on where you're picking. You get 7 picks. Well, what if all 7 of those picks are from 25 to 31? Well, they're glorified second round picks then you're getting, right? So you might be getting, still a lot of not the greatest talent. So it's always a factor. Now, if you said, hey, you're going to get 7 picks, right? And 4 of them are the 4 first round picks are going to be top 5 picks. That's interesting, right? That's a little bit of a change. If you say, hey, all 4 of those first round picks are going to be first overall pick in the draft, then that's interesting. But tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. See you guys next one. Peace out.